And we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to the Network Effect, your Tuesday special with the Hxro founders, Gunny and Rob Levy, and myself, RT, Mr. Hxro Labs himself, and we're here to talk about the network today. We've got a few things on the docket. Most importantly, we want to talk about Suzu's yacht. No, just kidding. Although I don't even think it's his, never ever was, but apparently they were making down payments on it with borrowed money that they did not have a backing for while they were getting actually absolutely dumped on by the market. So a lot of stuff has come out.
Were they already bankrupt and then went out and got more money and then did that?
Apparently, yeah. The word I got, and I haven't read the 1,000-page court document that came out, obviously. Who actually does that? But apparently they were borrowing money, like they were kind of already just chasing their tail with like debt while the market was nuking below whatever price it was at the time. And put a down payment on this yacht with
I
Genesis's money, perhaps.
Just to get my 2 cents in on it, obviously, like insane.
It's insane.
But what's most shocking to me, and RT, I mentioned this in one of our chat groups today, is when you're running a trading desk or a hedge fund, like most of the borrowing that's done is usually borrowing against a portfolio or against like legs that are generally hedged, and like you're borrowing one leg, and then like so you're paying financing on one leg, and then posting on another if they're like on 2 separate exchanges, or you're rolling up into one kind of haircut number that you're required to post, and then your credit is covers the balance. And this is actually the first time that I've ever seen a hedge fund be able to borrow and just take outright YOLO punts, which is absolutely fucking insane.
In the face of a monstrous downtrend, too. I mean, who knows where they were buying, but I mean, I look at it with basic TA and it's just like, that's pretty gross. I'm not going to ape there.
How
Certainly not with leverage.
Like, right. It's like of all the times to be buying, like Do Kwon is buying in a down market. 3 Arrow is buying in a down, like buying on the way. Like it just doesn't. Why? Like if you're going to be that much of a degen with basically half the industry's assets, like why not at least do it in the side of the trend?
Well, I think it's an interesting conversation about the psychology of success, especially in trading, right? To grow from where they were to where they were, and then they spent years presumably moving the market at their whim. I mean, I even saw Nomad posting some buys at trade. He's like, I was basically the bottom on everything this week, and I got everything I wanted across exchanges, and I am now, like he was posting probably multi-$100 million P&Ls, like as far as where his entry was and the size that people can presume he plays with. So you start to get complacent, obviously. I'm not, in the case of 3 Arrows Capital, it's got to be that. I mean, they've got to have just been in a position where they're like, yeah, we will buy with such size. Oh, and if we're stuck underwater, we'll borrow $2 billion from Genesis. And they got humbled by the market, which is so often the case with that kind of action. So,
yeah, I think it also,
timing hurt them. I think the people who were deepest involved in Luna and UST were so kind of just in the weeds there, and when that hit them and they lost a good chunk. I mean, they had just put in $300-400 million, I think, into the lockup round. Who knows what they were doing with their liquid holdings, if they were selling it or what, but they were not worried about losing that plus everything else that they had in the Luna ecosystem. And then it's just became, holy cow, the market, the alts, whatever they had, down another 60%. And it just like they were, I think, just literally like in football, when you get hit so hard, your bell is rung, where you don't know where you're going, what's going on.
It didn't hit no bell. And the reason we're talking about this today, to start off the show, we like to circle back. This is a very Hxro Network Derivatives, crypto, and all that focus show, but it's nice to circle back to what's really going on in the market today, and yesterday there was a disclosure of 1,100 pages of liquidator documents, which most people wouldn't ever want to read. So there was a few interesting articles, highlights the purpose of journalism, some threaders on Twitter that we pulled up. So we've got some interesting tidbits, things like lending out or borrowing like $65 million to like the wife. I mean, you can imagine the finagling that went on within, ways of borrowing certain amounts of money here and there. I think even Suzu made a claim against his own company for $5 million. Like, they owe me $5 million. I owe me money. Like, it's
what was the what I can't like what was the
I don't know.
Why
You froze,
everybody,
Dan. I think you froze. I can hear you, but I think you froze.
Why did everybody why was everybody so enthralled with them? Like, what? Why were they able to get away with what? Was it because he made like sophisticated sounding tweets?
No.
Like what? Like, I mean, half of them never made fucking sense. Like,
listen, there's some stuff I thought he was smart. I think he's a smart guy. I think they built, they came from like the Northeast prep school circuit, I think, Andover. They went to Columbia, New York, great liberal arts. They're smart guys. They became whatever
there's some point, this always happens in fraud. There's some point that your intention is good. It starts good and then it goes bad and then your ego gets in the way, like Bernie Madoff style, or this is how these fucking Ponzi's start. At some point that somebody, like, they lose their morals because they're afraid of the consequences, and then go down a dirty path.
Mm-hmm.
And like, did that happen? Did they lose so much on Luna that like they were so over positioned in Luna that they lost that much, and then like were afraid to tell their investors they got their fucking kits ripped off? Like, what was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, that actually would make sense with the timing, at least, that Luna was the sort of start of their unraveling. I mean, I know of their 500 million locked Luna that they bought that's worth like $600 now, which is an absurd stat. But I'm imagining that they had other UST and Luna exposure outside of that one deal that everyone seems to know about.
I mean, I think crazier in some respect is like it came out, Genesis had $2.3 billion that they had lent them. I mean, it's massive. It's massive.
I've never like, I know a lot of big trading firms, like, I've never ever seen anything like this.
Dan,
Dan,
it had to stem from their participation and massive defense and support of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and they were the largest holder at one point, and so using the GBTC against it, like there must have been some like nepotism there for that amount to get to $2.3 billion loaned. I mean,
it's insane.
Yeah.
Am I still frozen, by the way?
Yeah. You got clean audio. Video's frozen. If you want to pop out, pop back in, I can replug you. That's probably work. Real quick, before we get into it, guys, today we're going to be talking about the reference UI. It is live. We're going to try to get a screen cap up, give you guys a little sneak peek. Staking tokenomics, we're going to dive a little deeper into that as far as what's on Hxro Network. And we're going to talk about the Alpha Sandbox update. We've already got a question in the chat from Vicus. Says, how's alpha testing going for the closed group? So I don't even know the answer to that, but I bet Rob and Gunny do. So we're going to talk to them about that. And then we've got a transferred SPL coming up with a bit of a heads up for those who are the on-chain war watchers, just so nobody gets their panties in a twist when they see a gigantic block of Hxro moving. So we'll talk a bit about that, what to look out for this week. But before we dive into the network stuff, we do like to just do a little touch on the market, because that's why we're all here. We're all here, learning and thinking about the market. Has anybody been watching the Bitcoin chart today? Just kidding. I know you have been. It's leading the way today as Bitcoin dominance takes a nice 3-hour bounce here. That's pretty much the strongest 3-hour move we've seen since a long time ago, probably back here in early June as it peaked. So that's a nice thing to see. I mean, as somebody who's kind of like mixed between ETH and BTC at the top of my portfolio holdings, I like seeing Bitcoin catch up a bit here. You know, the ETH took off this week. These are the ETH longs. ETH BTC absolutely rocketing up. I think we got a 20% move on Ethereum yesterday versus USD. What are you guys seeing? You've been playing in the market? I know, Rob, you play a little more actively than Gunny. What are you seeing on your watch list?
I mean, Ethereum caught some real bid.
Heat.
Yeah, like in a big way. And I mean, it's great to see. You never know. We're in a downtrend, and you know, bear market rallies are notoriously fierce. I don't think anyone is. Some people think we're out of the you know, darkest of times, but you never know. And it's just good to see that you know, crypto and Ethereum and Bitcoin got hit a lot harder relative than kind of the rest of global assets in the last few months. So it's not surprising to see them play a little catch up once you get some relief. Are the forced sellers out of there for now? That'd be great, because forced selling has been one of the themes of the last couple months, from starting with Luna, you know, with them selling $1.5 billion, $2 billion of Bitcoin. So if the forced selling is not there, then we're going to find where real sellers want to sell. And there are people globally with cash on hand. I mean,
there's a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Let me pull up a little thing here that I found yesterday of like how many. Oh, Gunny, by the way, you're not frozen anymore.
Awesome.
You're back. So I just saw your DM. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, Rob. I'm going to pull something up on that note.
I mean, you know, there's tons of charts out there, but you look at how hedge funds and family offices and high net worth and people are positioned right now. And it was actually the most like risk averse positioning we've seen since the global financial crisis. And it's like just making lows now. Like people have taken off a ton of risk. And what does that mean? It means like, one, people are or were scared shitless. Like they were scared and they wanted to protect everything at all costs. And these can be even from the most conservative of investors down the line, but they took a ton of risk off, and they're scared. It only happens when you're really worried about some real calamity, you know, real stress to the system. And the bottom line is that darkest fear feeling is typically the time to be putting money to work. You never know when the bottom is going to be, but when you have that sort of fear and risk off positioning, then it's like, okay, who else is there really to sell now? The selling for the most part has been done because people are scared, and it shows in the numbers. So at that point, you can see sometimes some fierce bear market rallies where you get some gaps and things move fast and hard. And then you get people who are like, oh shit, I'm not even positioned here. I'm risk off. I still think the whole world is going to end, but I can't believe, you know, Ethereum just rallied 30-40% and I missed it because
50.
Yeah.
Even more. I think it was like up 80% off the pip low, but even up, 30% just from range highs, which was a much easier trade to take. Obviously, like you mentioned, it's really hard to take those bottom pip trades, and really it shouldn't be your goal. I think it's not mine. But Lark Davis, who I don't really know, but he's got a interesting following there. And at the bottom of the last bear market, he pointed out that there were 2 billion in stable coins in crypto, and that now there are over 150 billion. There's a lot of dry powder around. Now, I haven't verified these numbers. Say what you will about this person. I don't even think I follow them, but I saw them pop up yesterday. And that's another stat that's interesting. Not in stable coins is the amount of money. I know A16Z raised some ridiculous amount of money earlier this year. And I thought it's interesting that the idea that, they're raising that money from investors who expect action. They have a mandate to deploy those dollars into the market some way, often through seeds and pre-sales. But you got to imagine they'll take some positions in coins as well. And they have a mandate to deploy those stables, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in the next couple of years. So there's no shortage of dry powder, billions.
Yeah.
So, like you said, Rob, it's really hard to take those bottom pip trades and be getting bullish down here, but that's often where the most opportunity comes. And we did highlight this trend line on DeltaFi last week. We were kind of talking about, like, this just feels like, where's the sellers now? Like, there just seems like they're gone.
Right. We were
Forced
talking
liquidations.
about, like, 26,000. Like Brian Doyle in the chat said it really well. Like, the max pain is actually up right now. Like, getting caught short would be
you can feel it. I mean, I can feel it. I can feel the cope and the anxiety and the sort of, like, because I think a lot of people who were like, I'm a holder and I'm a long-term bull, actually did capitulate right along with, some of this contagion stuff down here. And so they're sitting out at $1,000 Ethereum, $1,200 Ethereum, waiting for 500. And that reminds me a lot of the last bear market, not really with Ethereum's prices, but at Bitcoin at 32. And I was seeing these videos about 2,200 and 1,800. And so what's interesting to me is we're 5% off the summer lows now. I mean, it's that quick, just boom, 2 days, 3 days, and we're out of that range and we're already all the way back up. And that's that kind of vacuum idea we talked about last week. And I'm seeing that now. We're going to go over here real quick and then we're going to get into the Hxro Network stuff. But you can see this. Let me see if I can size this up a little better. But I put this heart on here to kind of signify where price loves to go, and that is to fill in these inefficiencies in the market. Whoops. Sort of like a gap theory, but to do with volume. And so when you see this huge node up here of volume, there's a ton of business being done up here. Obviously, price sat there for a while. There's a ton of business being done down here. Not a whole lot in the middle. Price typically is going to want to explore that. And now that we've broken above this node, we're just sitting in this gap. So, the odds-on favorites for direction from here, whatever that is, dip from here, whatever, is likely to explore higher over the next few weeks and likely come right back down and just fill this in until we see a much larger pronounced kind of parabola here. And then we can say price has explored it. And yet all the replies on bullish tweets, almost all of them right now, are still very like, ooh, you're dumb bull, and it's going to come back down, and oh, you've been bearish all this time.
There's like, it's just like hot air. It's vapor between here and 26 to 28,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. And so is this locally the best place to rush in and certainly put on, like, no, leverage, all that stuff. But, we've broken out of the range. We've seen a pronounced volume boost after that retest today. So I'd be shocked if we're not much higher, even though I have a little dry powder. I'm not just all inning here because I want to be able to buy the dip and not shit my pants. So, but yeah, long and strong, feeling good right now. Let's talk about the network. Let's shift gears here and get a little bit more into Hxro Network. Let's start with staking. I know, I think maybe more in the reference UI kind of context. Like, what is the reference UI? That's the first real, I guess, visual that we can get of the Alpha Sandbox.
Well, that doesn't have to do with staking. Like, these are a little bit kind of conflating two parts of the ecosystem. Yeah, DM me that reference UI if you can. Otherwise, we'll roll right into just explaining what the hell it is. Rob, you have it.
Yeah. Here, let me.
So basically, the long and the short of what we did is when launching this Alpha Sandbox, which we launched last week, we right now have a couple of the larger market-making firms plugging into it, spinning up markets, which then they'll participate in the liquidity there. Which, just to remind everybody, initially we launched a BTC perp, a 1 week, 2 week future, and 2 week future, a 1 month and 2 month future, and then 4 quarterly futures contracts beyond that. So there is a full curve that goes out in terms of tenor, approximately 1 year. And we launched this on mainnet, on Solana mainnet, but with a test token that we call UXDC. Collateral, when it goes fully live, will be USDC to start. So everything will be based in USDC. The reference UI is just an initial UI that a community engineer built for us in order for basically for people to point and click trade. Like, there's several market makers, and then a couple of professional trading desks that are all plugging in, that are running trading bots or automated trading systems. And then they're, but until we have applications that are built at the app layer, this is just a way for, this is effectively a UI that will eventually be open sourced. And then ideally, developers and teams that are looking to build on top of the network can use it as base code to build out their own UIs or build something net new. But it will be available for use, and it's just an quick and easy way for us to look at the market. One of the things that we did interesting with it is we built the UI of it. It's very crude, by the way. It is like an MVP in V0, but we're building these markets more in ladder format versus what most people are used to seeing. I can't see the real time in Rendezvous of it, so maybe Rob's going to have to explain how it works. But I see it now. But Rob, do you want to just go in and just walk through like what people are looking at here?
Yeah, sure. So it's basic functionality in the reference UI where this particular one is showing like top of book. If you look on the right side with the ladder, it looks more kind of like the ladders that the professional liquidity providers and traders used at their prop firms. So this is showing like a bid 23,075. There's a bid for 20 Bitcoin and in the perp future, and then an offer at 23,175 for 10 perps. And basically, really, what this engineer did, he created like a little pad to do quick order size entry, and then that you can click right into that ladder to execute, or you can type in your price and quantity and buy or sell. And then on the left side is the really basic drop down for your wallet to connect a wallet. Shows you a trading account. This actually has the mechanism to create a new trading account, deposit, withdraw, and you can see that it's this one is using the UXDC. It's just the fake currency to test with. So this one is not wallet's not connected, showing top of book 20 by 10. Basically, you can trade through the ladder that you see there that'll be moving as the market's moving, or you can enter a price and quantity.
The whole point is from a UX perspective. I would say I started trading on a front end like this probably 22 years ago. It is probably the most popular UX for professional trading systems or any firms that are using like third party. There's a lot of like ladder format, and from a clicks perspective, the way that this works is it really is all can be done by your mouse. So if you, as Rob was saying, you can click through the market. So if you clicked up above the offer and you have, let's say you have $10,000 loaded, like every time you click, then it's going to just execute a market order up to the level of the price that you clicked at. And alternatively, if you want to put a limit order in, then you'll bid somewhere below the offer, single click and go. And so for people that are click trading, it's a way better UX than needing to go to your keyboard and type in the numbers and kind of deal with all the additional steps that you need to in order to execute a trade, especially when the market is really moving. This makes it way easier. And then from this, we'll iterate with additional features, more advanced features for it. And then this will be the reference UI that we put out in open source when everything goes live. And once we go make the sandbox public, which once a couple of the market makers are in, and we work out a couple more of these details, and probably do one quick more quick update to this simple reference UI, then it'll be open for anybody to go and use.
Beauty. And just want to point out that as you took that screen cap, Bitcoin was at 23,000. That's crazy. Doesn't feel real. All right. And I mean, presumably over time, there'll be iterations to that UI to serve various user types, right? You mentioned this one's more like pro.
I mean,
we're going
to see engineers doing anything they want. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're going to see a standard, one that looks like your FTX or Binance. Like, the beauty of it is the implementation and how to connect and everything is out there. Engineers will open source it, and then designers are gonna, they're gonna design what they like and see what their users like. So I think we'll see many different versions and iterations of how people interact with futures market.
And all that liquidity is pooled in the back end, right? That's the idea. Like, I could theoretically, if I code or if I wanted to hire a dev, I could make my own exchange on Hxro Network.
Correct.
And still share the liquidity from your main one or whatever this one is. Okay, dope.
Yep.
That's the whole idea. All liquidity, it's the clearing, risk, and settlement layer. So all liquidity bottoms out into Hxro Network markets, regardless of the application that you come through. So ideally, like we said this before, let's look out 12 months. You have 20, 30 apps that are at the application layer in the network. And from any one of those, depending on what their purpose is, what their use could be a CeFi or DeFi exchange. It could be an options vault. It could be somebody coming with some creative way or some like automated spread tool, who knows? And you can go to any one of those apps and you'll effectively be able to participate in the same liquidity.
Dope. Predictions markets excite me. So I'm hoping somebody will build that. I might have to go find someone. Build me a prediction market, Trump versus Biden 2024 or whatever it is. Okay.
Hopefully it's not Trump versus Biden.
I know.
For market's sake, that would be, I guess Trump will be the big draw for betting money.
80% favorite probably, yeah.
But but people love to bet against him too. I hope for all of our sakes, though, those aren't
please
the two main
as
choices.
A Canadian, I would like you guys to take back over. I've been trying to avoid political commentary on Twitter, so I have 20 drafted tweets, but it's just for God's sakes, man. You've been taken over. If those are your two options in 2 years, that's just proof that there's been a takeover. It's time to burn it down.
We're on bigger and better.
Bigger and better, younger, fresher. Okay. What's coming up this summer in Chicago? It's already kind of kicked off. You guys got a summer hackathon going on. Tell us a bit about that. And I think if you can send me the link, I'll pull up so we have a nice visual for that website. I looked up Solana. But they've been doing so many hacker houses that it's hard to find the right one.
They're doing hacker houses, but this is actually a Solana hackathon. Okay. So there's a considerable amount of prizes being paid out by the Solana ecosystem, and obviously of which Hxro Network is a part of. Hxro is the main sponsor of the Chicago Hacker House that is separate from the original Chicago Hacker House that us and the Solana Labs team normally work out of. But we set up a separate space for teams, anybody who's interested in the Solana ecosystem, whether you're from Chicago or you're from anywhere all over the world, you want to come to Chicago during the summer. It's probably one of the most. I would say it's one of the top 3 spots in the summer in the U.S. And then probably up in the top 10 in the world. Such a great place, and we're representing here. We're here all month in this space to help support and promote the hackathon, and any teams that want to come in to build. They're welcome to come. Any just general ecosystem participants of Solana that want to come hang out, they can come hang out. Lots of events going on. We're doing 2 times a week starting next week, doing workshops around Hxro Network, around dexterity. We're doing a side prize for builders who are building on top of Hxro Network, so that they're using dexterity and spandex to be the underbelly of the infrastructure behind their application, then they will be entered in for a side prize that Hxro is giving away, which is 50,000 Hxro. So not bad there. And then the workshops, so we're doing one, and then going to have other engineers, teams from the ecosystem come in and teach, and teach some cool things that either people know or they don't know, and everything from just learning how to a basic 101 of building onto Solana to how to use dexterity to something I think we were going to talk about is
yes,
the Hxro. One of the main contributors to Hxro Network is going to put on a which I think will end up being a 2-part options workshop.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about today. How do I get involved in that? I mean, I've taken a course that did touch on options, TRI level 3 touched on it, but like, how do I jump in? I want a refresher. So can I watch this online?
Yeah, that one we will probably live stream. But worst case, the ones that aren't, we're going to record them, and then they'll be posted throughout Hxro Labs or Hxro social media. Okay. But just as a way of background, everyone knows Rob and my background by now, but Nick's background, several years in proprietary trading, absolutely brilliant guy. University of Chicago undergrad, MIT grad, actually played collegiate baseball at University of Chicago, but also was a longtime options trader at firm Rob was at DRW for a number of years, and then was at Citadel for a number of years, running an options book there as well. So
did I meet him? He was in Bahamas, right?
Yeah, he was in Bahamas.
Yeah, we were hanging out. Okay,
yeah.
That's that guy. Okay.
And so, he had to sit out his non-compete, and when that was all done, he was at another firm, and then ended up joining Hxro Network as a contributor, and has been very instrumental with us in building out the complexities of our of Spandex, which is the main risk engine, and is going to continue to be a core contributor going forward.
Dope. Now, there's a big event coming up that interests me specifically as a Hxro holder. The transfer to SPL, the big swap.
Yes.
Could you guys walk us through sort of what to keep an eye on for? Ooh, we lost Dan. We got the big question mark. Yes, I'll be right back. So we're going to take a look here and see. Dan will probably pop back in. Let me get to kick him out though first. Rob, can you speak a little bit to the SPL transfer that's taking place? I know Dan mentioned today pre-show that part of what he wanted to say was to keep an eye like for the on-chain ors that might see some big movements in tokens. Do you want to just touch on that while I get him back in here?
Yeah. Well, so FTX is a big repository for, to start it was a lot of the solid wrapped tokens that would be from like the Ethereum chain. And if you wanted to trade it using SPL, the Solana program library, FTX would facilitate, they'd take in, and you can burn the Ethereum ones, migrate to Solana, or they basically would hold them one-to-one for each. So I think what Dan was alluding to was you might see a significant amount of Hxro tokens moving to FTX because they are going to help facilitating the migration from an ERC20 token to SPL, which is the Solana network. So
no FUDors can say that you're moving Hxro to FTX to sell it.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. And we'll
just to be clear.
Yeah, we'll also be clear timing wise on that. So, but that was the big point he wanted to get across there, which is happening soon, which is exciting, and then that opens the door for the on-chain staking and all of the great network participation and rewards stuff that's launching.
All that functionality. Yeah, I'm sitting half in Wormhole Hero and half in FTX. Can I swap through FTX? And I say this like I'm asking for myself, but I know there's a lot of people out there probably with the same question, non-US users on FTX.
Yeah.
You know, can we just withdraw SPL Hero eventually from FTX? Is that kind of, you guys talk to Sam about that?
Yeah, that is the plan. I mean, right now with FTX, they do give you a choice of what you want to withdraw. So, you know, you could go and withdraw the ERC20, or you can withdraw if it's a Solana token that's not native, or it wasn't created initially as a Solana token, then there would be a wormhole wrapped ERC20, or a SOL, which is solid, like an SO wrapped.
Wallet. Yeah.
So yes, they will let you, or you could withdraw whatever you choose there. So you can technically do that sort of kind of swap.
And eventually, like presumably eventually all of these others will just cease to exist. They'll end up all, the goal is to be just SPL, just Solana for now.
Correct. And and the supply is not changing. You know, the maximum supply, total supply is 1 billion Hero. So if 500 million of the ERC20 gets converted, those would get burnt, and 500 million would be created on Solana. So that's the mechanism there.
Okay. I think Dan is having trouble getting back in. He's been kind of chatting to me here in DMs, giving me the highlights, which you just nailed. So I will not read out exactly what he sent me, this script, because it's pretty much everything you took on. Oh, so he was recording through his phone today. That's why he was a little vertical and the green screen was off a bit, and his phone died.
Gotcha.
So, just going to tell him that it's all good. Okay. So that's the final sort of touch for today as far as like highlights on the network. I think actually you guys have 2 new hires. Is that correct? Dan wanted to touch on that.
So we've got one new hire signed, starts in, let's see, four weeks. Really excited. A brilliant developer. He knows the options world, but he comes from some real high tech engineering background, which we're really excited about. So he starts in 4 weeks. And then we've got another that we're, be premature.
I jumped the gun. Okay. But we have one new hire.
Yeah, but really excited and really, eagerly searching for dedicated, smart, hardworking developers out there. If you're out there, reach out. We're building a great team here. A lot of enthusiasm. I think it's a really, really great group to be working with. So, we're searching, we're looking, we're hiring.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What can I look forward to next week? We're going to be back Tuesday. What on the network roadmap, short term? What do you got?
What do we got for next week? I know, like this week we've got the Hacker House in Chicago. We've got guys coming in, working with the Sandbox Alpha, which is exciting. Got a lot of calls lined up for onboarding. Trying to think of
or even just end of July through the end of the month. That's about 10 days now. All of a sudden, 13 days.
Yeah, there will be. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun on the token migration stuff, but like I'm chomping at the bit to get that done, because it's going to open up the whole world of DeFi for Hero. Mm-hmm. But we're continuing testing. I mean, we're testing on the mainnet alpha, and soon we'll be off our little fake token of UXDC and we'll be onto USDC, the real thing. So
beauty.
That's our main focus right now.
All right. All right, sounds good. Guys in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, if you have been here watching, hanging out with us today, thank you for coming. Be sure to catch us on DeltaFi tomorrow. Special time. We're going to be on Wednesday. Usually it's going to be Thursday, pretty much indefinitely, but tomorrow we're going to be live for DeltaFi, and we'll see how much of the full squad we can get. I have not confirmed with Messi, although he did say last week he should be free. So we'd like to get the full squad. Either way, hit the likes, hit the subs, all the good stuff if you haven't already. And we'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll be back again next week. And we're gearing up for our first guest on the show. That should be next Tuesday. So other than that, let's take one last quick look. Yeah, Bitcoin is just plowing into the sky right now. I'm not even going to pull it up. I'm just going to let you guys go look for it.
Oh, come on. It's 23.3.
What? What do you mean? It's
moving.
It's moving. I mean, every time I look over on this the hourly, it's just like pie in the sky coming. So, I mean, look, this is just a chart. Who knows how high it goes? Who knows how it gets there? There's path risk always, but I'd be shocked. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. I'd be shocked if we make new lows here before we come up and just test some of these levels. But who knows what's going to happen? I'm just excited to be alive today on this beautiful day in July. So with that, I think we better wrap. We've hit our 45-minute mark, which is what we were aiming for. How beautiful. So have a wonderful day, guys. And whatever you do from now until next time, always play from a position of strength.